This is the reverse Afghanistan pullout moment for Biden. They like
the president revealing his decision Sunday in a letter addressed to my fellow Americans, acknowledging, quote, "I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down." Tonight's address, a defining moment in his presidency, passing the torch to Vice President Kamala Harris, now the Democratic Party's presumptive nominee. The president will signal tonight he will now fight for his vice president. Let's listen to President Biden.
My fellow Americans, I'm speaking to you tonight from behind the resolute desk in the Oval Office. In this sacred space, I'm surrounded by portraits of extraordinary American presidents. Thomas Jefferson wrote the immortal words that guide this nation. George Washington, who showed us presidents are not kings. Abraham Lincoln, who implored us to reject malice. Franklin Roosevelt, who inspired us to reject fear. I revere this office, but I love my country more. It's been the honor of my life to serve as your president.
Do they like not
But
put
in
his
defense of
teeth
democracy, which
they
is at
thought
stake,
this would get us.
I think it's more
They
important
were
than
like,
any
no,
title.
this is great. Like this is
I draw strength
we
and
can
I
carry
find
this
joy
man across the
working
finish
for
line.
American
Stop
people.
giving me that Adderall shit.
this
Give me
sacred
just
task
root beer.
of perfecting our union.
Sassafras. You
It's not
address the
about me.
nation.
It's about you, your families, your futures. It's about we, the people. We can never forget that. And I never have. I've made it clear that I believe America is at an inflection point. One of those rare moments in history when the decisions we make now will determine our fate of our nation and the world for decades to come. America's going to have to choose between moving forward or backward, between hope and hate, between unity and division. We have to decide, do we still believe in honesty, decency,
Gotta
respect,
remember their light. What?
freedom,
You weren't
justice,
born
and
in
democracy?
America. I was.
In this moment, we can see those we disagree with not as enemies, but as fellow Americans. Can we do that?
I was waiting for that
Does
one.
character and
good
public
one.
life still matter? I believe I know the answer to these questions.
If I was in his
'Cause I
inner
know
circle,
you,
I'd
the
be like,
American
can you make
people.
your eyes less blue?
And I know this.
Kind of fucked
We are
up.
a great nation.
He's hot and you're jealous.
Because we are good
He
people.
was a good-looking, like,
And you would like to meet at this office.
30 through 60.
I promise to always level with you, to tell you the truth. And the truth, the sacred cause of this country is larger than any one of us. And those of us who cherish that cause,
Those of
cherish
us
it
who
so
cherish
much.
this cause.
A cause of American democracy itself, must unite to protect it. You know, in recent weeks, it's become clear to me that I need to unite my party in this critical endeavor. I believe my record as president, my leadership in the world, my vision for America's future, all merited a second term. But nothing can come in the way of saving our democracy. That includes personal ambition. So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. That's the best way to unite our nation. You know, there is a time and a place for long years of experience in public life. There's also a time and a place for
He's
new
had it
voices.
more together than the
fresh voices.
immediate
Yes, younger voices.
speech after Trump got shot.
That time and place
you know,
is now.
when he said seriously injured and former
For the
Trump.
next 6 months, I'll be focused on doing my job as president. That means I'll continue to lower costs for hardworking families, grow our economy. I'll keep defending our personal freedoms and our civil rights, from the right to vote to the right to choose. I'll keep calling out hate and extremism. Make it clear there is no place in America for political violence or any violence ever, period. I'm going to keep speaking out to protect our kids from gun violence, our planet from climate crisis that is the existential threat. And I will keep fighting for my cancer moonshot so we can end cancer as we know it, because we can do it.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I'm going to call for Supreme Court
Trump
reform.
brought it back at the RNC, I
Because
think.
this is critical to our democracy, Supreme Court reform. You know, I will keep working to ensure America remains strong and secure and the leader of the free world. I'm the first president in this century to report to the American people that the United States is not at war anywhere in the world. We'll keep rallying a coalition of proud nations to stop Putin from taking over Ukraine and doing more damage. We'll keep NATO stronger, and I'll make it more powerful and more united than any time in all of our history. I'll keep doing the same for our allies in the Pacific. You know, when I came to office, the conventional wisdom was that China would inevitably surpass the United States. That's not the case anymore. And I'm going to keep working to end the war in Gaza, bring home all the hostages, and bring peace and security to the Middle East and end this war. We're also working around the clock to bring home Americans being unjustly detained all around the world. You know, we've come so far since my inauguration. On that day, I told you, as I stood in that winter, we stood in a winter of peril and a winter of possibilities. Peril and possibilities. We were in the grip of the worst pandemic in the century.
What?
The worst economic crisis since the Great Depression.
What?
The worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War.
He's talking about, you know,
We came together as Americans.
they fucked everything up before
We
I
got
came
through
in.
it. We emerged stronger,
Someone
more
branded
prosperous,
on
and
it.
more secure. Today, we have the strongest economy in the world, creating nearly
This is like
16
the most
million new
coherent
jobs
he's been
record.
in like 2 years.
Wages are up.
A weight has been
Inflation
lifted from his
continues to come down.
shoulders.
Yeah.
The racial wealth gap is the lowest it's been in 20 years. We're literally rebuilding our entire nation, urban, suburban, rural, and tribal communities. Manufacturing has come back to America. We're leading the world again in chips and science and innovation. We finally beat Big Pharma after all these years to lower the cost of prescription drugs for seniors. And I'm going to keep fighting to make sure we lower the cost for everyone, not just seniors. More people have health care today in America than ever before. And I signed one of the most significant laws helping millions of veterans and their families who are exposed to toxic materials. You know, most significant climate law ever in the history of the world. The first major gun safety law in 30 years. And today,
It's so insane
Violent-
that
the
he's
violent crime
only
rate
doing
is at a
this because
50-year
they
low.
commission polls like
also securing
weeks
our
before
border.
the convention.
border crossings are lower today than when the previous administration left office. I've kept my commitment to appoint the first black woman to the Supreme Court of the United States of America. I also kept my commitment to have an administration that looks like America and be a president for all Americans. That's what I've done. I ran for president 4 years ago because I believed and still do that the soul of America was at stake. The very nature of who we are was at stake. And that's still the case. America's an idea. An idea stronger than any army, bigger than any ocean, more powerful than any dictator or tyrant. It's the most powerful idea in the history of the world. That idea is that we hold these truths to be self-evident. We're all created equal, endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights: life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. We've never fully lived up to it, to this sacred idea, but we've never walked away from it either. And I do not believe the American people will walk away from it now. In just a few months, the American people will choose the course of America's future. I made my choice.
Oh my God.
I made my
I hear
views
every
known.
gulp.
I'd like to
They
thank our
mic
great Vice
everything.
President, Kamala Harris. She's experienced.
Every
she's
gland in
tough,
his
she's
body
capable.
is mic'd.
She's been an incredible partner to me and a leader for our country. Now the choice is up to you, the American people. When you make that choice, remember the words of Benjamin Franklin that's hanging on my wall here in the Oval Office.
I met him. He was a good guy.
Alongside the busts of Dr. King and Rosa Parks and Cesar Chavez. When Ben Franklin was asked, as he emerged from the convention going on, whether the founders have given America a monarchy or republic, Franklin's response was, a republic, if you can keep it.
He's not wearing his wedding ring. You think
Republic,
he's
if you
available?
can
Oh,
keep
yeah,
it.
no,
Whether we
before he
keep
went
our
out, he
republic
was
is
like,
now in your
till
hands.
it's over.
My fellow Americans,
Jill,
it's
you
been the
wanted me to
privilege
keep running
of
for
my life
president for your own
to
ends?
serve this nation for over 50
Bye.
years. Nowhere else on earth.
He's
I
gonna
hear-
Kid with a
fuck.
stutter.
I hear Joe
From
has
modest
been seen
beginnings in
with
Scranton,
Rihanna.
Pennsylvania, Claymont, Delaware. One day sit
Joe
behind
Biden
the
was seen
resolute desk
leaving the Viper
in the Oval
Room
Office
with
as
Madison
President of the
Beer.
United States. Here I am. What's so special
Madison
about America?
Beer.
Yeah.
We're a nation of
Hey,
promise
you're a
and
real
possibilities.
drink, whatever
Of
you are.
dreamers
That's
and
what he said to
doers.
her.
Of ordinary Americans doing extraordinary things. I've given my heart and my soul to our nation, like so many others. I've been blessed a million times in return.
Maybe he's
love
cheating
and
on his
support
wife
of
in
the American
solidarity
people.
with Keir Starmer.
I hope you have some
Is that-
idea
did he
how
do
grateful
that?
I am.
Yeah,
all
I
of
am
you.
confident in saying Keir Starmer
Great thing about America
has cheated on his
is
wife
here.
more than any
Kings and
human being
dictators
in
do not
history.
rule. The people do. History is in your hands. The power is in your hands. The idea of America lies in your hands. We just have to keep faith, keep the faith, and remember who we are. We're the United States of America, and there's simply nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. So let's act together, preserve our democracy. God bless you all. May God protect our troops. Thank you.
A moment in history tonight. President Biden
He
in the Oval
really
Office. You
held it
heard him say
together
there to
for
the
that.
American
There
people,
was
I
no,
revere
like,
this
former
office.
Trump.
There were a
I
couple.
love
There were
my
a couple
country
flubs,
more.
He
but
said,
Talked
he
about
said
this
cherry
being not
instead of
about
cherish.
me,
That was
it's
pretty
about
funny.
you,
But
it's
beyond
about
that,
we,
it
the
was
people.
not
He
at
said,
all
"We
like
cannot
the
forget that. I
several
never have."
interviews he
He
did.
did ask this question.
Or
He
the
says,
no,
"Does
the last
character in
teleprompter where he did the
public life
battle
still
box
matter?"
thing was pretty
As
bad.
we
He
head
didn't even do
toward
Battle Box
that.
was
November election,
hilarious.
and he
But
said
he
nothing
said
should
Battle
come in the
Box
way
and
of
Little
saving,
Battle Fella.
preserving
Yeah.
democracy.